every year at our meeting in September, we bring all of the new employees who want to come to a reception, a meet and greet with the Board of Education, and we spend some time recognizing them and thanking them for coming to our district and just start to get to know each other. So before we start introducing you, I'm going to have the board. Well, go ahead. You can start.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. And we're also here to eat cake, for sure.
It's not a terrible thing.
So no, not a terrible thing for those who eat cake. So Tom Schneeberger, and I say welcome. I met you at orientation a few weeks ago, and we're happy that you're still with us after those days of orientation and after our first week of school. And we're beginning to hear very good things about many new staff who have joined us, and so we thank you for that. So I'm going to ask our board, just to, as we are scattered about the room, just to introduce themselves to you, and then Mrs. Dunkel King is going to invite the administrators to introduce their respective staff members as well. So, Mike Judd, want to begin?
Mike Judd. I don't actually know how many years I've been on the board. I think it's around 10. Yeah, both my kids graduated from Lowville, so it's been a pleasure to serve.
I can go next.
Okay,
Amy
Amy.
Marti. I think this is my 4th year on the board. Both my children graduated, and I graduated from Lowville, and it's a great school.
Yeah, must be me. Jim Farquhar. I think I've been on the board 7 years, 8 years. I'm not sure what you give me credit for. I had 2 children also that graduated from Lowville a few years ago now. But welcome.
Michael Young. I have 35 years on the board. I have 4 children who graduated from here. I graduated from here as well as my family. Been here my life.
I'm J.C. Gillette. I'm a new member of the board. I have 3 children that attend the school currently.
My name is Stacy McConnell. This is my 2nd year on the board, and I have 2 children in elementary here, and I graduated from here.
I'm Stephanie Hauser-Faust. I've been appointed to fill the seat of Rebecca Kelly, who moved out of the district, sadly. I think this is my 7th year on the board, and I have 2 children that are enrolled here, as well as being a graduate myself.
That's it. All right, thank you. I'll start by introducing some of the people who don't necessarily fall under a building, and then we'll turn it over to the elementary. But first, Leanna Monet. Can you stand up, Leanna, please? Thank you. Leanna filled in a long-term sub-position for us last year, and when that position became available, she applied and was hired. So she started her nursing career in 2019 after graduating from JCC with an associate's degree. She obtained her Bachelor's of Science in Nursing from Chamberlain University College of Nursing in December of 2020, and while working full-time in the ICU at Lewis County General and juggling the joys and responsibilities of motherhood. Her favorite time spent at the hospital was while working in the emergency department, where she was able to learn from amazing doctors and nurses while taking part in caring for people in emergency situations. She has an oldest daughter. She's a full-time college student who's studying to become a teacher, a great profession. She has a son who's a senior at Beaver River, and he likes racing dirt bikes, too much probably sometimes, right? And my youngest daughter is a 7th grader here at LACS. So she's part of a competitive dance team. Not Leanna, her daughter, is part of the competitive dance team and plans to play volleyball this year. So she says she's grateful to be a part of the LACS family, and she hopes to bring good things to the health program. So Leanna, welcome. Not to put you on the spot, but do you want to say anything?
I just want to say that I am really grateful to be here. It's been touch and go the last year with COVID and everything that's gone on with that, so not something I really saw myself doing for my nursing career, but something that I have really come to love, especially with all the kids. I really have grown attached to a lot of the kids, and I've found that everybody here has been really nice. So I do love working here, and I am really grateful to be here.
Thank you. That's very nice. All right, Jim LeVere. Jim, we created, when we had two retirements, one retirement in the technology department, we created the position of Director of Information Technology to fill his shoes. So this is Jim LeBaire. He's worked in education since the late 90s. During that time, he has held the following titles: classroom teacher, technology integration specialist, educational technology leader, technology coordinator, and director of educational technology. So with a background in graphic design and production, he uses his skills to convey technical and sophisticated information to a diverse audience in various mediums. Jim is recognized as an Apple Distinguished Educator, class of 2003. He is a father of 4 children: Nathan, 18, Bethany, 16, Hannah, 14, and Madeline, 12. He's a classic car owner and enthusiast. Jim's love of Star Trek led him to become an author, as he just released his second book, A Run in the Fabric of Time.
I would react, I'm absolutely delighted to be here. So it's a wonderful place, and as I'm reflecting on my own career path, and I am honored to be here, and I look at all the things I've learned and all the things I can bring, and it's just been great. So,
Thank you. Good to have you on board. And then, his counterpart, Jordan Seymour.
Hello.
So everyone remembers Brandon. Brandon went down south to start a life with his new family, and Jordan stepped in exactly where he needed to be. He grew up in Harrisville. His pastimes include hockey, golf, drumming, hunting, and building PCs. His wife, Tiffany, we'll introduce her later, is the middle school technology teacher. They have a golden lab, Ellie, who is a 1.5 years old. And Jordan wanted to say Lowville has been an awesome experience so far. The staff has been very welcoming, and the IT team, Jim and John, have been awesome to work with. So we have Jim, John, and Jordan. So, so there's Jordan.
Yeah, no, it's been great. Working with Jim, or Jim, or with Jim, I don't know. No, it's been good. Transition's been pretty smooth, so.
All right.
Yep,
Yeah,
happy to be
good.
here.
Thank you. And then is Doug Smithling here? I didn't think I saw her. All right, I'll pass it on to Mrs. Goss.
Sure, thanks. I'm proud to introduce Mckenna William. She is our newest kindergarten teacher. She is a recent graduate of Keokuk College, and she's doing a fantastic job. She's been in kindergarten 5 days and loves it. She's smiling, her students are smiling. We're very fortunate because she also has certification in special education. So that's a great thing to have in our kindergarten program, and she has been very welcomed by our team, and they also agree that she's doing a great job. So welcome, Mckenna. And next to Mckenna is Dion Carpenter. Dion is a graduate of Utica College at Syracuse University. She most recently taught pre-K in the Rome City School District, and we are very happy to have her providing interventions for our learners in first grade. She has joined the first grade team and doing that many years of experience, so welcome, Dion. And Colleen Pominville is next to her. Colleen returns to education in New York State after some time in Florida. She has taught in various and assorted schools within our RIC. That's kind of how we talk about it. She's been in Harvard, VBS, graduate of VBS, right?
Yes.
And South Louis, some time in Florida, and now is back in Lowville to stay, she said.
Absolutely.
Not going south
Letting my
anymore.
son graduate.
She has 8th and 10th grade, and she's doing an amazing job in first grade for us. She joined the first grade team. So, welcome, Colleen. And moving around the room, and I see Melia Table-Pitts. She is our newest speech and language pathologist. Happy to have her as a Lowville employee. She is doing amazing things, working with our students and our speech team to provide services to all of our learners, but specifically some in the elementary school. So welcome, Melia. And we have Joshua Newman, who's a familiar face. He student taught here last year in 3rd grade with Mrs. Rubenzall. And then he spent some time as a long-term substitute as a special education special education teacher last year in 3rd grade, filling in for maternity leave. and we were fortunate enough to be able to offer him a position as a third grade teacher, and he is now here as a Raider. So welcome, Joshua Brum. And just looking around, do we have anyone else tucked in there? So welcome. If anyone wants to say anything, I didn't want to single you out as I introduced you, but they are great contributors already to the elementary school.
All right. Very nice. Mr. Finn. I caught your eye
okay.
next.
All right. I have three new faces. Kim Rotundi, if Kim wants to give a wave to everybody. Kim is working as a special ed teacher in our resource room. We stole her from the ACES program. We saw that she did great things with our students, working towards graduation, and just as a true advocate for kids, especially kids with needs, kids that struggle with learning, and we find that she's going to be a great fit for us. Her first day of school, I asked if she was really tired, and she said, yeah, I am. And but then I forgot that she has a little baby at home, so she's going to be tired every day. So welcome to Kim. Moving to my right, I have Amanda Garcia. Amanda. This is Amanda's first day at Lowville Academy. Yeah, give her a round of applause. Amanda is our Spanish teacher. She'll be teaching Spanish 1 and Spanish 2. She comes to us. She has a diverse background. She has a bachelor's degree in Spanish, a master's in Caribbean culture, and she has 15 credits towards her master's in teaching. And she was a last-minute hire. We were searching all summer long, and we thought we were not going to be able to find somebody. And lo and behold, we found a pearl. And she came to us from JCC, and we think she's going to be a great fit for us. So welcome, Amanda. And then we traveled way out west. The superintendent said you've got to go find people from outside of Lewis County to bring back some more culture. And no, she didn't say that. But I'm on my way back from Arizona last spring. I stopped in New Mexico and I found this person that was a dynamic person. Well, it's my story, right? I can tell it. But Cindy Richards is from New Mexico, and Cindy is teaching our English 10 and 12. And she has a really unique teaching experience, 16 years teaching at the 6th grade and lower level. She loves drama. She's going to be taking over our drama club.
The good kind of drama.
The good kind of drama. We'll have her work on the bad kind of drama, kind of help Mr. Hanson.
Yeah, that's Mr. Hanson's job.
But she got that going. We're putting on Shakespeare this fall, so hopefully everybody can come out and see the production she puts together. She had a great turnout tonight for her audition, so please welcome Cindy to the high school. And if they'd like to offer anything, say anything.
I'm happy to be part of the English department. They're a really strong department and warm welcome from everybody. So thank you to everyone for pointing me down the right hallway and telling me where I should hike and teaching me what high schoolers are. But I am really excited about 12th night. I'm like on a high because of auditions just now. And I talked to Jen Davis a little bit, and I know there's a couple of students who really need a place to belong, and so I'm excited that Drama Club's going to be that place. And I know Michelle I saw you over there. I know Michelle did a great job with it for years, and she handed me the key to the auditorium, so I have the power now.
Welcome.
Here's Scott. Oh, hey.
Hello.
Your
All right,
turn.
we've got some middle school folks over here. Right here, I've got Gail Brotherton. Gail is our new secretary in the middle school. Her background is healthcare, secretarial, a lot of experience there. Not a lot of experience in education and with students, but she got a crash course last week and she's still with us this week, so things are going well. She was excited to join us here. Her grandkids go to school here and she's got her grandson Blake here tonight. So welcome, Gail. Kim Clemens is hiding over here in the blue. Kim's our 7th grade science teacher. She's a graduate of Copenhagen, so she is local, but she's been around the country a little bit, taught in Virginia and West Virginia. She has a biology degree from SUNY Oswego, a master's in education from NAS. We're glad that she's back in the North Country. She lives in the South Jeff, Watertown area, and has 2 boys, and one that's in my middle school. So welcome, Kim. Irish Dyer over here is our 8th grade Regents biology and our 8th grade science teacher. She grew up, I've got to refer to my notes because I can't keep track of all this. Grew up in Texas. She's got an undergraduate degree in microbiology from the University of Colorado. Also a history degree from Texas Women's University. About 15 years of experience, Colorado, Texas, and now up to the North Country. And she's got a couple of girls as well, one in the elementary and one in our middle school. So welcome, Irish. Tiffany Seymour, Vanna White over here. New tech teacher. She's from Baldwinsville. Is an engineer, mechanical and aerospace, from University at Buffalo. Also played hockey there. Holds a Master of Art degree in teaching from SUNY Empire. She got her experience over at Harrisville, and we stole her. So we are happy to have her. Welcome along, Tiffany. Another traveler, Amy Wilson, our 7th grade social studies teacher. A lot to bring into the classroom. From Tucson, Arizona, holds a BA in history and Master of Science in teaching from Potsdam. She's taught on the Navajo Reservation. She's been in the Tucson area, Greater Houston area. Started up in Herman DeKalb and is back up this way, but luckily settled in the Lowville area. So glad to have you in Lowville. I told them I wouldn't put them on the spot, but you can feel free to say anything if you would like.
All right. We have everybody. Yes. All right. Well, from the bottom of my heart, we are very thankful that you're here and that you're part of the Lowville Academy family. We wish many, many years of great success to us all, but you know, it's only made possible through you and your efforts in the classroom and working with students. So thank you. I hope you have a great year. And before we start, I did want to thank Mrs. Hoffman and Mrs. Flint so much for staying and providing nourishment for us. So please feel free to grab a piece of cake and punch and get to know each other. Go ahead. Off you go. I'll go first.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our guests. And I invite you to please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll move one. Michael? And Jim? Those in favor? Any opposed?
I'll move 2.
2, Michael. And then Stacy. Those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
I'll move 3.
3. Those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. On to our public. I understand that there is Mr. Fair wishes to address us this evening. Is that correct?
Sure.
Please.
Thank you. Well, first of all, good evening. Thanks for having me. Most people here know who I am. If you don't know who I am, I work in the high school. I'm department head for the social studies department, coming up on 3 decades of service. I've taught a lot of your kids.
or I've taught you, board members. Some of you know who you are. I'm not sure how old that makes me, but there are older people here, veterans who've given even more service, and I'm here on their behalf as well as mine. Everybody in here, I don't know when's the last time you had a meeting with this many folks in it, but I suspect it's more than the average. First and foremost, I want to note that the concerns that I'm going to share are specifically directed to the full board and to the district administrator. And it's important for me to share some of these ideas and thoughts because they've been going on for a while. As you can tell, it's building. And this is really just the beginning. This is the first time I've asked anyone to come to a meeting. I haven't been to a board meeting in 29 years to take privilege of the floor. Neither have a lot of these veterans because we're too busy working, coaching, advising, and doing unbelievable things with great kids here, and we love the job. But that love is starting to fade. It's fading here at the district. You've heard it a while ago, and some of you are dismissive to it, so I want you to know where we're coming from. And I've just got a few thoughts for you to think about, and I hope you'll take those thoughts and go home tonight and chew on them. First and foremost, I'm here to tell you that a lot of these folks and myself, and by the way, there are other folks that aren't here tonight. They're at games in Adirondack, football games, coaches, teachers, parents who said, I'm with you in spirit. I'll show you the text if you want to see those. I know a lot of people like to pass around texts. I got mine, and folks are telling me they would love to be here, and they'll be at the next one if it needs to happen. So be it. A lot of staff are getting more and more discouraged and are losing faith in your ability to lead and lead fairly. My understanding with labor disputes are they're a distraction, and the longer they go, the bigger the distraction they become. We have seen staff leave this district. Potentially new teacher candidates have not come here. I can name several. They took jobs in other districts with better pay, better treatment, better benefits, and more listening from the leadership. On top of that, you have older staff like me, as I just referenced, and some others. We are looking to accelerate our retirement date. That's kind of sad, because honestly, I could see myself doing this 10 more years anywhere else. But maybe in 3.5, I'm out the door. None of this is good for our district or the students. I am very certain this will grow worse as time goes on due to the fact that our 130 plus teachers still do not have a contract. Do not have a contract. It's embarrassing. I'm on the negotiating team, so I don't just talk. I volunteer countless hours to try to solve the problem. I've been in meetings since last September with 10 other great people on that team. Some of them who couldn't be here tonight, but they are all in on the same side. September of last year. 12 months have gone by. We started sitting down with you in March, then April, then May, then June. No movement. None. Embarrassing. 6 months go by, no contract. Meanwhile, many other districts are taking care of their staff. They're settling their contracts. South Louis settled their contract in 3 meetings, and it's a pretty damn good contract. South Jeff has a contract. Indian River got a contract. Carthage has a contract. Lowville's the best, but not for a contract, just for the work, for the productivity. Most of these contracts offer better pay and benefits, and it should be noted, better retiree benefits. Our retirees, their health insurance is the worst in the North Country. That's not something I'm proud of. I don't even like to tell fellow teachers what we get when we retire, which is very, very little. Now, I know some of you right now are going to say, perhaps the superintendent, the board, they're going to say, you guys are asking for too much. That's why you don't have a contract. You're greedy. But I'll remind you, the inflation rate right now is 8.4%. Go fact check it. 6.2% cost of living right now. So things are a little different than they were a few years ago. We made it through a pandemic. These people worked their tails off. This should be an easy home run. This should be done. It goes on further to talk about the idea that the district has no money. That's their repeated claim. If you're on, and by the way, I'm here because some of you board members, you're not on the negotiation cohort. There's only a few, and I have a bad feeling they don't share as much as I'd like them to. And we have some members who openly admit, I don't really know of any problem that's going on. Well, that's why I'm here. Because the only place to figure it out is publicly, so we can all hear the same facts. The district repeatedly claims there's no money available. Well, we all know that's not true. LACS received $6 million in COVID relief money. $6 million new monies from President Joe Biden. The state of New York gave us 8% more in educational aid from Governor Kathy Hochul. The school board passed a budget in May. I believe my tax bill went up 4.98%. Is tax not revenue? So 5% increase in taxes while lifting our health insurance 7%. And yet we're looking at a very, very small offer from the district that's, quite honestly, kind of sad. You put that together with the fact that the district is sitting on well over $11 million in reserve, and they are, go look it up, they have over $11 million in reserve funds. It doesn't make sense. You don't have money. Lastly, you're adding insult to injury when you try to rush a capital project through. Here we go. We need a track. Most of us might actually like a track. I'm not opposed to a track. Who doesn't like facilities? But these folks are more important than facilities. I'm more important than a facility. If you don't have us, you can build everything you want. No good. No good. The people, not the projects. That's what's going to matter. So this idea we're going to rush a track. I got a question about the track. It's in the newsletter. I know you can't answer my question. I understand privilege of the floor. But you think about this when you go home. In the newsletter it says 89% covered by state aid. Okay. No taxpayer impact. We're going to sell this thing. So where's the 11% coming from on a $20 million project? And you're going to tell me it's only 14, 15 million. But we all know construction easily runs over by a third. Ask anybody in the construction field. So if it's 20 million, where are you getting 11% of that? If it's not coming out of taxpayers, it must be coming from somewhere. More importantly, why are we talking about a track when we haven't got a contract? It makes no sense to me. None at all. Facilities are useless if you don't invest in these folks right here. These are the people that are going to carry the building every day. Not you folks. Appreciate your time, but these folks are in the trenches every day. I hear how awesome we are and how much we get great results. That don't get it done. We want someone to show it. You got to show it. And you can do that simply by offering our staff a fair and competitive contract. Thank you, and I yield back my time.
Thank you, Mr. Fail, for your comments. And as you know, June 6th, we signed a ground rules, so I'd hate to discuss anything specifically in public because we agreed not to, but I can talk about the time frame. And I think you're really misleading people because on June 6th, we gave the LTA 7 dates to meet over the summer. That was not acceptable at all. We got back to school, emailed the LTA 3 times for a date that would be acceptable. Haven't heard back. We can't close a contract until you come to the table. I want this done as much as you, but you've got to make yourself available. You've got to come to the table to negotiate. We're more than happy to meet anytime. Please go back to your negotiation committee, get them to set some dates, and we're happy to move forward.
Well, I'll speak to the board then to that. I'd gladly entertain that. First and foremost, we started last September. Did you hear me? We started. Time out. Exactly. Are you listening? We started in September, came to you guys in March. You guys giggled and tee-hee-ha-ha through it with no progress. You were dismissive and said all of this is pretty much no. You didn't do any homework. We did a ton. And the idea that we're supposed to come in and meet over the summer, when it's the only perk 10-month employees get, you're the 12-month employee, you should be out in front of it. You should have had it buttoned up by the end of June. We shouldn't even be talking about it in June. The idea that now we have to panic because you didn't do your job and come in July is silly. And nobody on the team, not just me, nobody on the team believed that was fair. That's why nobody wanted to come in July. We had March, April, May, June with you guys. Nothing happened. And by the way, that's your job, to make it happen and to get the board to understand that. These folks had no clue. The whole spring went by, they had very little clue.
No,
Your
not
cohort had a clue, but they had no clue.
That is not true.
Yep.
And that is not true, Mr. Fail. We knew, we discussed it. That is a lie.
Well,
point blank.
Yep, you can call it that, but I'm here to tell you, there's no urgency on your side.
There is.
March, April, May, June. Well, where is it? How can South Louis do it in 3 meetings and we're on 6 months, Mike?
Might have something to do with the difference between the parties.
In other words,
Mr. Fail, I sit on another school board. We sell the contract this summer. It can be done if you want to.
We're waiting.
Well, show up.
Yeah, it's funny. There again. There again. Ms. King, may I? Do you recall a meeting where we had to call this gentleman because he was absent? Do you recall a meeting when he can't be there because he's on other boards? Maybe the cohort from this board shouldn't be the 3 that you have. Maybe somebody else who's got time can come get it done a lot quicker. Your answer is, I'm on the hospital board, I can't be there, we won't be there. Did you not miss meetings with us?
Mr. Fail.
Did you not miss meetings?
I'm not going to get a personal conversation.
Exactly. You miss meetings, you're not adequate. So get somebody else who is.
All right. It's getting heated, and we are obviously not even, my perspective is far different than yours, obviously.
That might be part of the problem.
I do encourage the rest of you to encourage your negotiations committee to please sit down with us. We are happy to do it anytime. Go ahead, Sue.
If I could speak for a moment, I am on that negotiations committee, and there are several others sitting in this room who are as well.
Yes.
We are at meetings until we are done. We did not leave at 6 o'clock one evening because of sporting events for children in our families. We have been there. We have met. We did not want to meet over the summer because we have families and vacations and things that were planned. We have a list of dates that we are working on presently.
Good. Let's move forward.
We are trying to.
Yes, and we are too. And we are as eager to come to an agreement.
And so are we.
Right.
And I don't like the sense that it's our fault that we didn't meet over the summer.
I'm saying that's why we don't have one right now. So let's set
Okay.
some dates and let's get this work done.
Well, let's not talk about a track until we get it done. Why don't we make that pledge that we'll take care of the staff, and then we'll talk about capital projects.
Moving on to number 5 on the agenda.
I'll move it.
Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. 6.
I'll move it.
Second.
Amy? Those in favor?
I'm not sure if I should refuse from that one.
I'll have to recuse myself. Spain. Motion 7.
Motion on 7?
You don't have to say it.
Good.
You don't have to say it. I'll second that.
I'll move it.
Stacy? Those in favor? Any opposed? 9.
I'll move not to change any of the exemptions.
Okay. Makes that motion. seconds. Those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. We're on to our administrative reports, beginning with Mrs. Goss, please.
This is something to the achievement report now. Okay, you have a copy of my report on some things that have happened since our last board meeting. If anyone has any questions on that, I'm just passing out a copy of the achievement report that I'll be presenting tonight, but I can certainly entertain any questions on the other report. We had a great start, cooperation of many people and some wonderful smiling faces coming in, ready to learn every day, greeted by smiling faces. So it was a good start. And if you've got any questions, I'll move into our achievement report based on last year's data. I'll just stand here so the clicker will work in the laptop. But here's our annual achievement report from the elementary school. Looking at our performance levels at each grade level. This is kind of a summary that I'm starting with because it's really what you'll see when this hits the press. Nothing has hit the press yet on the data, but looking at our students in scoring in grades 3, 4, and 5 on ELA and mathematics, those are the state assessments we gave, and it was the full assessment this year. Last year, we only gave the part 1 to our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders for ELA and math, and then you can see our grade 4 science overall level of proficiency there at the bottom. Looking specifically at some historical data at each grade level in ELA specifically, you know, we've had a focus on ELA and literacy the past couple of years. The NA in 2020 is the year that we did not assess students because of the COVID pandemic. But you can see our students did for the first time do computer-based testing in grades 3 and 5. This year our 4th graders did paper-based testing on the ELA. But I'm very pleased with our results. We were still instructing during a pandemic last year. We did have absences, students, staff, because it was a challenging year with people's health and things like that. So I put these scores up here, very proud of them. You can see we actually had good growth in some areas looking at this, and you can compare, we're right where we've been, and we know we plateaued, and that was our focus on literacy. We're looking at pushing high 2s into 3s, 3s into 4s. So this aligns with what our action plan has been with literacy instruction in the elementary school. We did the previous year was again the COVID year where I appreciate the board's support when we had small class sizes for our staff and our students during the 2021 school year. That was certainly a challenge. And that was part 1 scores there, that again, the ELA. But we went to an assessment last year, even with a year and a half prior, and last year, 2.25 years of instruction during a global pandemic. And we really were greeted with a test that was just what that test was in 2019, prior to all of the missed instruction and the challenges that occurred for families, children, and learning in that time. It was not an easy assessment. So with some of the challenges that we had, this is our performance in ELA, and I really am proud of that. I'm proud of the staff, I'm proud of the students for our work to achieve this last year in 2022. You can see in math, it's the same setup. It's a history from 2016. Again, that 2020 no math assessment. Last year, part 1 only, and you can see our level of proficiency in mathematics in grades 3, 4, and 5. And again, I stand here proud of those results. If you pay attention to the national news, they will tell you that math has been hit hard. There's some foundational skills, some information that students just missed, but you can see that we are, we're right where we've been, and I know we can show some growth, some really nice change for our 5th grade students. Now, again, just looking at this as I presented in the past, you can kind of follow, you can follow a cohort of students if you go down. So this is, for example, we'll take the 3rd graders, we'll go back this way. So, you can see that group didn't take it at 64-49 this year with some of that loss. You can follow the cohorts down. diagonally, but again, this was not an easy assessment in mathematics, and I really think that we have outscored in some areas. We have a comparison where Lowville was with the BOCES and the RIC for percent proficiency, which is students scoring at level 3 and 4. And I've not been able to find, I know I talked to Ms. Director, we've not been able to find the other district scores that report. We can't locate that yet, so we just have the general BOCES comparison, which is the 18 component districts, along with a RIC, which is 52 school districts, I think. So you can see where with our percent proficiency, grade 3 is right where other schools were. Very proud of the 53% proficiency in grade 4 ELA compared to our BOCES in the RIC. So I think that shows some outstanding performance there, as well as grade 5 ELA compared to other schools in our BOCES and the RIC. It is difficult to locate similar schools. We've had that conversation in the past. What's a similar school? Well, we went with our neighbors to make this comparison. And you can see where we were with mathematics. Our third grade did outperform BOCES and the RIC in our proficiency level in mathematics, as well as grade 4 and grade 5. Some nice results there when you compare with our neighbors. So that's a lot of hard work on our teachers' part, our students' part, and I also want to commend our families on this. We were really dependent on parents during the pandemic for help with this. So this shows, I feel, a very strong partnership with our community and the school. So proud to present these again. Looking at a couple of subgroups that we've looked at in the past of our, this is an average of 3 through 5, so it's each grade level. At Lowville Elementary, 47% proficiency rate in 3 through 5 on the average. Our economically disadvantaged students were 43.9% of that. So that's, you know, we're happy with that. We do know our economically disadvantaged in mathematics. This is our percent proficiency with those students. And our students with disabilities, we continue to work on this. Again, this was an assessment that was certainly a challenge for all students, and we know that we will continue to work and look at how we can best provide instruction to help improve this number, along with in mathematics also, the students achieving at 3 or 4 students with disabilities in mathematics, on average 3 through 5. So our science was on there. It was 90% proficiency for our 4th grade science, which that test has sunsetted. We will be giving that next science assessment in elementary school in 5th grade next year. There will be no 4th grade science test. We've traditionally done very well on that assessment. It is a change assessment for the first time in a very long time. Forgot to mention that. So we certainly thank you for your support, have felt very supported. Especially these past couple of years where it's been a challenge. We've had some additional staff that has really been paramount in helping us have our students perform. They've had, you know, their finger on the pulse of what's needed to happen, and I hope these results show that we really appreciate some of those extra positions, keeping those classes small so our students can be safe in the elementary learning environment, our youngest learners. So I can certainly answer any questions that anyone may have. Thank you for your support.
Yes, sorry.
Very good.
Very good.
Great.
Thanks. Mrs. Hanselman? Thank you.
And I'd like to thank Mrs. Hanselman for her help in preparing that report.
Nice job. Nice job.
Mr. Exford, please.
You also got a copy of my notes if you have any questions on that.
That's why I didn't change it for you, Scott.
Yes. Speak up. Where's the second? Well, I'll get right into this. I'm in trouble with my glasses. I can't see a little more without them. So. We will dig into this. These are a little bit small, I apologize. This is our ELA results for 6th, down at the bottom here, 7th and 8th. proficiency in 6th grade, 58% in both 7th and 8th grade. We were very pleased with that. I think for ELA, roughly, it's hard to compare year to year, but roughly if you're 50% or over, you were at the top tier of schools in New York State. So I'm very happy with that. This is our math results. Looks a little bit different. 6th grade math, 34%, 7th grade at 43%, and 8th grade at 29%. And I used 35 is roughly where you're looking at. It's sad to say that out loud, but that is the way it is. So obviously, you know, I was really happy with 7th grade, and that's, you know, we had Bill Hurley coming down from high school, and he had some transition, you know, just getting to acclimate to middle school and working with kids at that level, and we really had a nice return on the investment there. 8th grade, there's more to that story because of the accelerated kids that are in there. So I'll show you some comparisons that'll put that a little bit more into perspective. So again, like Mrs. Goss was mentioning, we don't have the school-to-school comparisons. They're not out yet. But we got the BOCES and the RIC, and I just found this. This is our BOCES, so these are our schools here, and these are the ones that are all included within our RIC. So when you're thinking about those schools, it's the Utica area and north. Again, very hard to see. Hopefully you can at least see these yellow pieces. Top one is Lowville, and these two BOCES, and then the RIC. So with our 6th grade ELA, we were at 66%, 3s and 4s. BOCES is at 54%, and the RIC at 50. 7th grade ELA, 59% proficiency, and BOCES at 42, and the RIC at 38. So you can see the difference there. And 8th grade, 57%, 44%. These percentages are just a little bit off from, I don't know if some of the calculations we see include our BOCES students that are Lowville kids within the BOCES in the middle school. It's our 811 program. And some of them are just Lowville kids that are not in those programs. So they're very close. It's by one kid usually in a grade level. 57 against 44 and 40. And 6th grade math, 33. That's the one that we were just right under, right about at the same area as the BOCES and the RIC. And it's not getting too much into what those cohorts look like, but it gives you a general idea. 43% with 7th grade math. And again, you can see the huge difference there. I was really pleased with that. And a tough and fairly needy cohort of kids, so socially and academically. And then 8th grade, 29%. You can see the numbers are so low in 8th grade across the board. Algebra, just to factor in those 13 kids, all at proficiency, and most at the real high end there. So we're happy with that. We don't have that comparison. We just show Lowville, all of the kids in high school that were taking algebra as well. So I didn't include that. For science, this is our 8th grade science test. 60 kids took that. We're at 65% proficiency. And this shows here 65 compared to 59 and 54% across those areas. And then we had 19 accelerated science kids, and all those kids do well. Again, no comparison for that. Just a little bit on refusals. We typically, those numbers are fairly consistent in what we've had in past years. Not bad. I mean, our 7th grade was a little bit higher than any of the other grades, and it's one of those things you get 1 or 2 kids that get the word out, and parents get talking, and then kids aren't taking the test, and you're scrambling because you got everything set up. But not bad at all. So we're, working with Marie to schedule meetings with ELA, math, and our science teachers to kind of look deeper. There is a ton of data that comes out from our RIC that you can really dig into and look at every standard and kind of think about what you want to target for next year and what you want to weigh a little bit more than you did the previous year. So honestly, a lot of that stuff is much more helpful than the numbers themselves. So we're going to be digging into that over the next few weeks. Any questions or thoughts on that?
Thank you. Scott. Mr. Finn, please.
I'll be very brief.
In advance, thank you.
Sorry about that. Do you want a bathroom break, or do you want a break now? This is your first achievement report, but I'll try to be as brief as I can. So this is a look at the high school.
That was great.
This slide, and I will get you a copy of all this data where it relates to Regents as I talk through it. As I told you, this year the Regents and for this school year, the passing score, as long as students are earning credit, will be at 50%. Generally it's 65. So when we look at that, if you take a look at column B, that includes all of our kids that passed. And you can see our pass rate. Gotta like that, 95% pass rate. That means that those kids all receive course credit.
And what would it have benefited them?
We'll get to that. The other part that we like to look at, or you folks like to look at, what is the mastery level? And Mike always asks that. How are our kids doing in comparison to others? And when we first looked at this, we were like, okay, and of course we're looking at ourselves, looking outside at other neighboring districts, and we were worried about our scores. We were worried about our kids. What was that gap in COVID? What was that impact? But we had some still good results. And then we look at that. Another band that nobody else looks at is those scoring 90% or better. And that was quite a bit lower than we're accustomed to. But we were happy with this 95%. So I told you last month that I put out an all-call to all building principals because data wasn't coming in. And I shared a Google sheet, and if they responded that they would share their data, I invited them to input theirs. They could take a look at our data, and I could look at theirs. So I have 13 schools that participated in this. And so when I look at this, the Common Core algebra, this is the old bands. 0 to 64. This would be our failing rate if we did not have 0 to, or if we did not have that 50. Okay, here's Lowville. But when we look across, you can see how our students did, how our teachers did, and we've always talked about how well that they handled COVID. For our Common Core algebra, in the region of the 13 schools that were able to put we were number one that scored at the mastery level. 33% of the kids taking algebra. At the Common Core Algebra 2, we were number 4 in the region for mastery, 24% scoring mastery. For geometry, we were number 4 at 21%. And I told you last month that Kim Zabriskie was not happy with those results because we're generally number 1. So we're going to get better. Our kids are going to get better. Took that look at earth science, and if you recall last year, we had Cheryl Chartrand picking up in the middle of the year as an elementary teacher, working alongside with Laura Berga. And we're number 1. Mastery level. 46% mastery. That wasn't just Laura's kids. Those were Laura's and Cheryl Chartrand's. Living environment. We were number 2 in the area. Chemistry, number 2. Physics, number 5. And we're comparing small schools, but we also have those bigger schools. Our fair comparison would be a South Jeff, a General Brown. That would be a fair comparison. But we also have the larger schools, the Carthage, the Watertown, the Indian Rivers. ELA, brand new teacher in the teaching that. She was number 4, 55% mastery. 55%. Brand new teacher in Global 10. Number 2 in the area at mastery. 31%. So there's room to grow, obviously, and I think we're going to continue to grow. I think our teachers are going to continue to grow. We aren't happy with these results, but we're happy with how we stand coming out of COVID. And hopefully you folks are too. So now we take a look at our dropout rate, and if you recall last year we had a 2% dropout rate, which equated to 6 kids. This past year we had 3 kids that dropped out. Small, rural school. You'd like it to be 0. But taking a look at across the board, our 9 through 12, just taking a look at the core areas. You know, our kids are still knocking it out of the park in math for their final average, which is a reflection of how well they did. In science, at the mastery level. English at the mastery level. Social studies. So, happy with that. Our teachers have worked hard. Remember, you had a charge to us 2 years ago when we shut down in March to continue the education. And we did that, and our teachers did that. Our identified students, taking a look at their average, we can always get better with our identified kids, but 92% passing average. Some enrollment data. BOCES, Mike, and others, you've identified that. Now we're sending 52% of our kids to BOCES. You're offering them opportunities, not just at the collegiate level, but also going out into the working force. 52% of our enrollment in 11th and 12th grade are attending BOCES. I don't think any other district would allow that many. We're limited in seating, and Mike would know more about that at the Watertown level. We're limited. Here's some good in our music department. Last year for Bi-County we had 5 or 6 kids in Bi-County for chorus, 3 kids in band. Area All-State, we didn't have any. NISBA, we had 16 kids. We just found out from NISBA that Olivia King is going to be applying for All Eastern. She was selected. She'll be going to Rochester in December. So when everybody else was shut down for music and all that stuff, you folks made it happen so that our kids could still perform. Might have been a limited performance, but they could still do what they love. And that's important. High school band numbers, they are steady. What is that, about 21%. our kids are in band. Diploma data. Last June, we granted 91 diplomas. 45% of them were Regents diplomas. 6% were Regents with honors. 15% were advanced Regents diplomas. And 34% were advanced with honors, either in mastery, with 7% mastery in math, 7% mastery in science, and 24% mastery in both of them. Advanced placement data, we continue with our advanced AP program. Andy Capone, his kids knock it out of the park, 3.8, that beats the state level, that's above the national level. AP Government, 3.7, beats the state level, beats the national level. AP English Lit, 3.7. That was Gene for last year, 3.7. Beats the state, beats the national. AP Bio, Chris Mooney, 3.67. Beats the state, beats the national. Studio Art, 3.0. That's about average for the state. AP Chemin, 2.6, about average for the state. AP English Language, those are the kids that were in the EDGE course and still sat for that AP exam, 2.75. And that was a challenging group. Some of them, again, were open enrollment. We've always been open enrollment, but there was a difference. AP History, brand new AP History teacher, not bad, 2.59 is the average score. AP Physics, you're going to look at that 1.85. Not happy about it at all. Okay? And that's when we came to you and we did the shift in our science. We knew that the kids taking AP Physics, if they want to be successful, they have to have Regents Physics in their back pocket first. They can't come into, most cannot come into AP Physics without physics and be successful. And they've been clamoring about that, and we finally made that shift. So this year we don't have an AP Physics class, next year we will, and hopefully we're going to see a rebound where those kids have the foundations to do better. AP Euro, we did not offer that this year. That's just other data. Okay. AP Scholars, we had 7 AP Scholars this year. We had 3 AP Scholars with honors. We had 6 AP Scholars with distinction. And we had 1 National AP Scholar. If you remember, that was Eliana Bombas.
Oh, that's right. That's really amazing.
Extracurriculars. That's what keeps a lot of kids in school. You know, you look at the participation rate for our kids. You know, 9 through 12, we're looking at in the fall, 36% of our kids are out there on the playing field doing something. In the winter, 29%, and in the spring, another 29%. I would love to have that right around 50%. But we know that those kids that are playing sports, they're also in the musicals, they're also in band, they're also in chorus, and we would like to get more of them involved in athletics as well. And there's some numbers there for 7th and 8th grade as well. College and career data, I know that's been a concern across the board. We've got 60% of our kids attending college from last year, or a technical school, 2-year, 4-year. And I'll give you a better look at that, of where they are. Class of 22, you can see 29% are in 2-year public, 19% in four-year private, 10 in four-year public, 2 in technical, 3 in the military, and 37 in point. These are individuals, I'm sorry, it's not percentage, these are individuals. Economically disadvantaged students, graduation rate is 89%. You heard Mrs. Goss talk about economically disadvantaged in the elementary. They're doing a great job in the elementary. The middle school is picking that up. In the high school, they're graduating. College going rate. There's some climate data, and you'll see a kind of a trend here. I think Mr. Hansman had a nice year and a half off. Mr. Hansman with discipline.
Yeah,
kind
right.
of picked up last year. Our attendance rate has been out of this world, 93% this past year. Infractions this past year, you look the previous year, we had 11 suspendable offenses 2 years ago. Last year, Mr. Hansman earned his money. We earned our money with 66 different things that we had to deal with kids being back in the building full time and dealing with emotions, dealing with all that type of stuff. We hear about it. You've heard about it. Kids have to be retaught, retrained, and all that. And we broke it down by grade level. It's always your freshmen. They took the boat with, you can see that better than I can, 32 of those were freshmen, and only 5 of them were seniors last year that were suspended. In and out of school, you can see historically 66. Again, last year, the previous year was 11. When we shut down early, it was 32. And pre-COVID was 56, 54 was kind of the average. But last year was a little uptick. But we've been working with that, been working with our social emotional curriculum, and hopefully we're working on that, as you saw in the data. Recognition data, Scholastic Arts. You know, opportunities for our kids. 21 awards last year from our artists. 21, 22, Judge's Choice. If you come down to my office, you can see Jaron Thomas, his award. Madison Hooper, first place in the portfolio in the Tri-County. So I think a lot of stuff went on last year, a lot of good stuff. Again, we are going to continue to improve. We haven't reached 100% mastery level. When we get there, we'll be really happy. And I think you should be proud of what our kids have done and what our staff has done with our children. Any questions?
I will say, I'm sorry, I saw the data a while ago, but I'm very impressed with how our students did, considering the circumstances and considering our staffing difficulties with mid-year retirements and such. So I really do think I know Lowville did it right from the beginning, and although it's a process, I do think even this year and definitely by next year we're going to see a full recovery. Obviously the little ones are working on the little ones, but it's hard to imagine. But I also wanted to just put a little personal, I don't know if this matters, but touch on the AP Physics thing. I had never thought about that process, you know, doing physics first and then AP Physics. And my daughter took AP Physics without taking physics. She got through okay. But, you know, through this process, I'm happy, you know, to say that my next child in line is actually going to do the physics and AP Physics. And it just makes a lot more sense, especially if you want to go into science. So I think we're making the right choices. I think we're putting people where they need to be, and with all of the disruptions and things that take our attention away, I do think we are on the right track, and our students are really benefiting from this.
Yeah, and just know that, when kids, want to take that AP physics or challenge themselves at the AP level, our counselors do an awesome job in working with them and the parents. And then when we feel it's important, we bring in the department chair and the people, the professionals teaching that, and they can then help parents and help students make an informed decision on what's best for them. And I think that's important, and that's what's really great about Lowville is that we do have an open enrollment. And hopefully we continue that.
Thank you very much.
So the one thing is that the edge for the English, that was the one that, gives me a little pause. I know you're saying it's open enrollment, but traditionally, even when it's been open enrollment when it was AP, I dare say we performed better than that on the AP prior. So I just hope that that's the first year we've done the edge and we're learning. But do you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's the one area that's as far as it used to be sharing in the Q's class. And
I do. I know where you're coming from. But last year when we sat and we looked at, we want our kids to have a leg up. And when we have kids in neighboring districts that are walking out of their high school, a lot of our kids go to JCC, go to community colleges, go to state universities. EDGE is going to transfer. Whereas that AP test for a lot of kids is a one shot, it's a one testing. And, so that's why we still want to make it available. I think kids are going to have to do a little bit more independent work in studying for that and providing them resources for that. Because we're going to have kids that are going to walk out from English with potentially 12 credits of English.
yeah, I get it. I understand why we're doing it totally. But I just think because I wouldn't want to necessarily have two on my profile if I was going to apply to some of the schools. So it's just we're going to have to, for the few kids who want to do that additional pull out, finding ways to support them so they can be successful.
And we do have one person that is taking an AP through NASA this year, online.
It was a wonderful opportunity.
It was. We have one student that is doing that. It's online, synchronous, and we're going to try it.
It was do you mind if I?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, it was through a special one-year grant that the state contracted with NASA BOCES to, if anyone could take it, it fit in their schedule or with that certain person, they could take it. And so we had one student who was a very wonderful young lady who could try all sorts of different things, and not a surprise she signed up for it. So hopefully it works, and maybe that's an indication of where things are moving in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hanselman.
In your reports, you do have a summary of some of the summer school data. I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has any questions. There was one correction, if Mrs. Dunkelking, if you want me to hand this out.
Sure.
I just found out today this B column here that's in your packet did not include there was a New York State special appeal of a 50% or better. So we were going by that 65. So that's the only adjustment in terms of the data. Mike, if I could pass that to you.
Thank you.
But so are there any questions with the summer school data? We were able to get everybody through except for one student, and they did a great job. The teachers did a great job, so I was very pleased with that.
Thank you, Mr. Hanselman, for your work in the summer. Appreciate that. Mrs. Weston.
Good evening, everybody. In lieu of going through my report, I'd be happy to take any questions if anyone would like some further information about anything I included in my report tonight. Okay, thank you. Pretty straightforward.
And Mrs. Campo.
Mine is 2. I'll make the same offer. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Goss is supervising a game right now because everybody's here.
Watching the sun.
What?
Be honest about it, watching the
I
sun.
think he's at the girls' soccer game.
Is it the girls' soccer game? He isn't watching the sun?
No.
Okay, Mrs. Dunkel Kane.
All right. I will make you sit through mine. Just a couple of updates. Probably could have done some of these in an email, but I wanted to just remind you. Our long-range planning is on the 11th of October, and that's when we meet ahead of time. So we meet early, 5 o'clock, and we give you dinner, and we go through a lot of the data and set some new goals. Hopefully, for the last 3 years, we've had the same set of goals, which has been great. We'll look at our progress to meeting those goals and look at setting new goals. And if you remember, I said some of the climate data that we got, the climate survey data is going to help us set some of those goals. And if you can't make it, if you are going to be late, just let me know, and we'll plan for that. Okay, so an update on the capital project, where we are in terms of promotion. And so, obviously, we've been planning this for almost 2 years, and we've had our architects come and present, and we've had different meetings for facilities. And so I presented to the PE department and coaches, and then I presented to the elementary staff who are impacted by the bathrooms. Then I presented to the entire faculty and staff. Information is in the newsletter, and then, but the big one is getting the information out on the public forum that I'm doing to make sure that everyone can come, the public can come and learn really the specifics. That's on October 12th at 6:30. And certainly this is not a project we're trying to rush through. This is has been in the works for many years. And the voters, if anybody remembers, a couple of years ago approved a capital reserve. They voted for it, a capital reserve. And so we can't use that money for anything but the capital project, which is a large portion of where that 11% is coming from. So certainly during the October 12th presentation, I'll have the funding sources all laid out so that it's completely clear where everything is coming from. It will not go over. It
can't go over.
It can't go over. We'll only pull out items. So it won't go to $20 million. It will not. It will stay whatever is voted on. That is the max that we'll do. So if building costs are more, if things are more, that's fine. We expect that. That's when we pull little parts of the project out so that.
Let's be frank for those who don't know. The project includes adjustments and change orders. The actual project is well less than $13 million.
That's a good point because 20% are in contingency.
Exactly. So the project is what, 10 and a half?
Yeah, probably.
10 and a half. I mean, we have a thing here. Mr. Fail is so wrong.
All right.
But
so
beside the point. But
I will make sure that I educate and I send things out to our faculty and staff so they know. That was the first time I ever heard anything negative about the project. I've heard a lot of positive, so we'll just continue and
I am going to suggest that we have more than one meeting. I realize you have one public forum.
Oh,
past projects have had 2 or 3 meetings.
Oh, I'm happy to.
I think we should do more than one.
All at night, or should I do like
No,
Saturday?
I think at night. I mean, when we did the middle school project in the 20s, we had 3 meetings.
Yeah.
It was a $20 million project. But you can't do it in one Wednesday because you're not going to get people out to it.
Okay.
I think there needs to be more.
No, and I think you're right. And our architects have finalized the design for those big poster boards, so they're sending them to me. I will put more dates out to do maybe even though different times so other people can come. I plan to have those billboards, whatever they are, at homecoming game, and all the open houses that we're having, and yeah, I'll just try to promote it as much as I can. I know the PE department and the track coaches are really excited. They're getting an Instagram page set up for the track, for the project, because they know that kids need to be safe and run on a track and not run on the streets of Lowville.
And the
But-
project is so much more than just a track.
Oh, it's so much more than just a track, right? We really want to make sure we highlight that the HVAC that needs to happen in order to keep the air clean and us warm and
And
in
I'm
the
looking at
bathrooms.
this, and I'm looking at you on the 22nd, which might be too soon.
September 22nd.
Yes. You have an open house scheduled for the elementary this Thursday. You have one scheduled for,
Maybe I should do the presentations at the open houses.
I was gonna suggest we do it at the open house, but that gets too late. I mean, don't the open houses usually at the high school go from 6:30 to 8?
Yeah, they wait.
What time do they end?
High school.
Well, I'll be there with information.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe set up a table.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd already thought of that.
Yep, set up the table with information and I'll just be
But
there.
but I don't think you wanna have people's attention split between going on to their students' classrooms and that. I think it needs to be a sole purpose.
Okay, for the presentation, you mean. All right, I'll pick.
Even if you do it back-to-back nights, if you do it the 12th and 13th, I just think you need more than one night.
Okay.
Because you're gonna have people who are not gonna be able to be here.
Okay.
Not to mention, there's probably a soccer game, something on the 12th.
Sure.
Somebody's.
Maybe Nick will be there to put it on Linking Lewis County.
For sure.
Thanks.
Could we talk about a brochure?
Yes.
That, in fact, the brochure could be coming out of those poster boards that the architects are doing.
Like a trifold?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'll
Just
make sure.
Bullet highlights.
Yep.
I'd consider an ad in your half page or page outlining it.
And maybe
It's not a
interview.
it's not a political, we're not picking,
No, I just.
we're not supporting an individual or anything, it's a project. It's
Yeah.
a project, it can be information.
And the more information, the better. Okay.
The more accurate information.
Yes, yes. Okay. And then I just wanted to update you on our bus driver shortage. We actually have a person who, as a result of my notice that we couldn't offer late bus right now, she saw it and she said, oh my goodness, I own a trucking company and I don't want to drive anymore. I want to do the books, and so I'm really interested in driving in the morning and in the afternoon. And she's in her 40s and she came in, I met her today, so we're going to start her right away. It'll be a lot less to train her because she already has a CDL. So I'm very excited. We need one more, so if anybody knows, please, then we can get back to being on a regular, run. But we are looking at an MOA with the CSEA to incentivize people to take the PM trips, because that's really what people are starting to get kind of tired with. So we're looking at, in the contract right now, it talks specifically about, there's a trip rate and your regular rate, so we're turning the trip rate into their regular rate for driving. So it's a benefit to them, it's a benefit to us. Mrs. Ho and I are working on it. Well, we worked on it. I gave it to Mrs. Ho. Now, there's no reason to listen. Jeff Lewis School Boards Association Fall Dinner. I haven't heard anything. You guys want to go? It's on the 27th.
I'm out of town.
Oh. Brian's Lookout. Let me know if you decide. Tom and I went way back when. NISBA conference. Syracuse going once.
Anybody get their orange mail from NISBA?
No, I'm going to boys.
No? No?
Oh, it looks like someone special.
You are the only one.
Yeah,
he's got that phrase after.
So, if anyone wants to go, I'm happy to go. Typically, the superintendent takes the members and we stay overnight and go to the session. So it's only in Syracuse. A lot of times it's in New York, which is really where the fun ones are.
Right.
Well, people go to New York.
Yeah.
And next year it's in Rochester.
Again? Is it?
I think it's.
Does this count for his training? Can he use it for his training or no?
Well, I'll have to look. There might be.
No, there's no training.
I don't think so,
There's training.
because I looked at that, and it didn't look like that would count.
And I will tell you, they're already booking conference hotel.
You could stay in Utica. No, kidding.
I suggest maybe we just go for the day.
Yeah,
Because it's in
if anyone
Seymour.
wants to go for the day, let me know, we'll get a van and make
That
some.
would be the Friday of that, I think, right? Is it
It's
Thursday?
Friday, and then Saturday is half a day.
So we would
So if
just
you were
do
gonna go down,
Friday.
you'd go down Friday.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
Thursday, you could go to the
Thursday.
pre-convention law conference.
I actually like those. Anyway, but you can take care of that for us.
I'll be going.
Good, bring home some notes. Update on COVID leave. So we all anticipated when the restrictions came off, so would COVID leave, but it didn't. There's still New York State paid COVID leave. Cumulative of 3 times since January 1st, 2021. We're putting a memo out to faculty and staff just to let them know you still get paid leave for 5 days from symptom onset or positive test. But now you have to show us proof of the tests, and you have to fill out an attestation form. You get your 5 days and then you come back. So we were anticipating that would be gone, but it's still in effect.
We're no longer in an emergency though. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Declaration today.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't miss the
Is it a pandemic still, or is it?
I didn't read I just saw the headline. So I don't know the details.
She didn't send the 2 executive orders that she's been sending month to month. So those orders are lifted.
Okay.
As of today, I think.
Today.
Because today was the data reading.
Gotcha.
Doesn't change, we still have to wear masks in the hospital.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
And then lastly, just a quick thing, we're looking, so the flyer I included, that date, it's a rough draft, we're trying to get a date that's going to work. We're planning on a parent coffee hour to go over our character education in case any parents are curious about it or want to come and ask questions. I know that some, we've been doing character education in schools forever, since I can remember, but it is a new thing for some parents to think about it. So Mrs. Campo and Mrs. Western are helping me work with some of the counseling department to put together presentations. And once we finalize on a date, we'll push it out to everybody, and it'll be coffee and donuts and kind of relax, but a presentation and a Q&A opportunity. And this is what you get to focus on when there's no COVID. So it's been good so far. And that's all. Any questions?
Okay. I'm going to go into executive session to discuss legal matters and negotiations.
Okay, thank you, Michael. And Jim seconds. Those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Thank you, Nick, for being here.
Thank you. You guys get to go home.